I'm that girl who has lost count of how many quantum sessions she's done as a client and as a practitioner. And part of my journey to discover myself and to understand what the heck is happening and why, for me and my clients, I've learned a few things along the way. And part of what I have learned is to respect all life contracts. That's a very significant one. And we can't just look at someone on the street and know their life contracts. It seems like there is consistency about how we are supposed to live our lives, which is try to get back to being a pure, unconditional, loving being, to love ourselves deeply and truly and honestly, and to love others and to want to inspire people to be the best versions of themselves. And so, while I see and hear many times through many sessions, the subconscious is telling the clients through their bodies they are to be of service, and the subconscious will tell them exactly how it should be and what it looks like, and all that fantastic stuff to really help the clients understand moving forward. Let's go, jazz hands. While we respect all their life contracts, sometimes I have found it very hard to respect people who have chosen to not be respectful to their own life contracts. Now, is that judging? Potentially. Is that observations? Absolutely. And this is what I have been noticing in conversations with many other practitioners, is that you have these profound sessions where you hear so clear, so crystal clear what the subconsciouses are needing for their three-dimensional versions of self to be doing and behaving and reacting and all that stuff, right? Like they're not like, oh, I don't know, do whatever you want to do. Like, they're very specific, directional, and have got this sense of like, and could you hurry up kind of thing. It's a lot of pressure. And I have seen some fantastic souls, fantastic life experiences, and everything that they were born here to do, to be, is so profound, so phenomenal. And yet their egos have made their choices. Well, I'm just fantastic, I don't need to do anything. And actually, I have seen a lot of big important beings who are here to really help empower humanity be really bitter, twisted, frustrated, pissed off, aggravated, and have zero interest or tolerance to be of service to help humanity. In fact, they actually despise humanity quite a lot, which is an interesting choice, right? And so I sort of find that I have to do some inner work myself to be able to respect their life contracts and also respect their free will. And you guys do you, whatever. But I find that I'm getting less and less sort of able to want to spend time with those people who only are wanting to service self. And it's all about them, me, and yet they still have this massive bitterness and resentment to be of service to help humanity. And they keep wondering why their subconscious is calling them out on it. And so they sort of have this usually they get frustrated with me because they're like, you're always telling us that we should be more and we should step up and be of service, blah, 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 blah. Don't you know who I am? And I'm a super important soul. And, I'm like, oh, gosh, okay, I'm sorry that I gave you that impression. Let's find out in a session what your subconscious has to say. And guess what? Outrageous conversations happen with the subconscious, where the subconscious actually agrees with me that this person actually needs to start being of service. Stop following fake influences that are full of bullshit, that are just stroking your egos. Oh my God, you're such an amazing soul. Don't do anything. You do nothing. You actually just sit there completely harboring onto your resentment of being here. The whole world should worship you for just being here. Do not love the world, do not respect others, do not try to help others and inspire others. You be resentful and bitter, and we would just all love you for that. Big light worker who is supposed to be here to help humanity. So interesting times. And it gets awkward because then the client gets really embarrassed that their subconscious called them out for their sort of interesting choices. And when the client gets reminded why you're here, what your importance is, what your significance is, and actually how you should sort of behave and approach humanity instead of like that shit on your shoe, celebrate that shit, because they're going through something that is very challenging. And I know many people are like, oh my God, no, I can't do humanity. They're just yuck. They're so dense. They're so horrific, blah, 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 blah. Labels, abuse them, all that sort of stuff. And it's like, we have to be reminded constantly, we are here to be of service to them. Of service, absolutely of service. And anything else which is, judging them or dismissing them and not coming from an unconditionally loving position, it's very, then we can become part of the problem too. So anyway, interesting, because I was going to talk about something else and then that kind of just blurted out. So, whoever needed to be reminded to pull up your socks and to be of service, take it if you will. And if you think that that's tough love and that is, not respecting you because you're this big lighthouse and you just naturally are very high vibrational, that is true. But what are you doing with that energy? Are you is it full of resentment, bitterness, and frustration and impatientness? Because that's also, sort of definitely could be part of the problem for humanity. And that definitely could be part of the reason why the shift has been delayed so many times. So moving forward, the one big thing that they wanted me to share with you is about my own journey about doing sessions to figure out who I am and why I'm here and what I'm supposed to be doing. And as I discovered being a second wave volunteer, I've actually helped with planets, 3D planets, many, many, many other times. And it's very strange, isn't it, to think, oh gosh, really? Was I, how did that go? And through, I don't know, maybe 24 clients who have also experienced when they have the regression part of the sessions. Because remembering, when we have sessions, if there is anything that's sticking from this lifetime now, we will experience it in the regression part of, say, a QHHT session, right? So the first hour is about exploring all of the significant other lifetimes we've had, which are either impacting us or significant to this lifetime. And so I've had lots of clients where they see themselves in different forms and that they are on a planet, it's an urgency, it's a rush, the planet is unstable, and they're having to talk to those beings who are on the planet to gain their trust, to say, we've got to go. Come on board these ships, understand what's happening, blah, 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 blah. And the pain of that regression part of the client remembering, they don't believe me, they don't trust me, they are scared, and only a few have come with us. And then we get to see that planet explode, do whatever, collapse, and it is traumatizing for everyone because the lack of faith and trust has sort of stumbled those beings. Of course, we know that, just because you physically die doesn't mean game over. Your soul still does a whole lot of stuff. But it seems like there are lots of beings that are here to always help planets when the planet is at that close end of their days, end of their lives. Because we know, while we think this is just a dream, that the 3D is just an illusion, blah, 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 there is actually some physical stuff that goes on. Just like how we maintain our physical bodies, we must maintain the bodies of planets. And if you abuse our physical bodies, we can definitely make all those choices to shorten our lifespans, and that's the same with planets. As bizarre as that may sound, when we're trying to be super advanced and super metaphysical and there is just nothing but source energy, blah, 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 it gets very interesting. And so when we're exploring these rescue missions, these destructions, these end of planet lifetimes, when regressions, it's all very, very, very interesting. And there's a lot to be explored in there. And then when it gets to the time where I'm talking to the SC, the Mr. Subconscious, with all respect, because they know everything about your lifetimes and your purposes and significance and contracts that you chose to be able to have in different lifetimes as you seek and need for your soul's journey and growth. I'll ask the subconscious, what was the significance of showing my client that scene this today? How is that impacting and how is that relevant to this lifetime? And this is the sort of thing that led me to understand what was happening to this planet and who's here now and why. And so it was very significant to hear that, oh, this is exactly the same. They're doing the same role that they were doing in that lifetime, helping that planet. This is exactly the same as what they're doing now. And it was quite surprising because when I was on my journey and I did not even consider that planets die, let alone, people need to be supported and blah, 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 because that's quite advanced. That's quite a lot of information to sort of understand when someone's quite happy in 3D, trying to figure out how to help the clients heal their bodies and understand what was happening to their bodies. That was my true mission and purpose, to be able to help people heal their bodies and figure out what was going on, because I could see so many people choosing to create lots of illnesses for themselves, and it was very challenging, and it wasn't uplifting them, and they were struggling to live and be in joy. And so, full disclosure, that's what I was trying to understand, what was happening to people. And this is what really motivated me to start doing the training to do this. And I also had this other interest about understanding what happens to us after death. And the life after death was very intriguing to me. So upon my journey of myself and of listening and having the privilege to listening to many other client sessions, I got to hear repeat information. It's very interesting, the clients that are being drawn to connect in with me to have sessions as well, because, soul families are merging in together to be able to support each other and feel into each other and remind each other, we've done this together before. And how did it feel last time? How does it feel when you have true integrity and wanting to help and wanting to be of service, and those who are on that planet do not want help, do not want empowerment, do not want to trust and have faith, and actually are quite sleepy still. Often the messenger gets shot and often the messenger doesn't get believed. It gets disrespected and a whole lot of stuff. And, there is that fine balance between trying to awaken humanity to see the bigger picture of what's going on for this planet and what's going on for humanity right now at this current time. There's a lot going on there. And so while there are some advanced clients that have already got amazing connections to their teams and all that fantastic stuff, I'm also experiencing some clients that have only just started and scratched into their own personal journey. And so it's very shocking for those clients when they get downloaded massive advanced information of who they are, why they are here, and what they've done before, because they want to hold on to attachments of, I'm just a 3D mother. My biggest problem is my children's grades, and I've got a little bit of eczema on me. And so they literally come in for sessions because they're worried about their children's education and they're worried about this little patch on their arm. And, really the subconscious is like, you're welcome. We pushed you and pushed you and pushed you to question this so much that you actually then were motivated to start having sessions. And it's a lot. It's definitely a lot for people to get big information from their subconsciouses when they sort of are expecting just to hear about a little rash and to find the tools to be able to support their children and to not worry about their children. And especially now, because it seems like a lot of parents are worried about, well, is my children going to be successful? What are their careers going to be like? This economy looks really challenging and tough, like help my children, I'm so worried about my children. And the subconscious will say that your children will not be adults on this planet because they're going to the new earth. And then I'm listening to the subconscious, and I know what my client has said, and they're very, very new. They have no comprehension of what new earth is and all this sort of stuff. They're here for something, a little rash and kids' school grades. And then I'm like, oh, subconscious, would you like to explain that more so my client can know about it more? Because I don't want to feed the clients information that could be poisonous to them. Advanced information can definitely be poisonous to people when they're just on their small little journey. And this is why lots of people refuse to grow and refuse to look and refuse to step up and a whole lot of stuff. So, all again, choices. So it's astonishing to me when I could view someone as being very, very, very new on this journey and taking baby steps, and the subconscious is like, get in there, tell them this, tell them that, tell them this, tell them that. And I just think, whoa, that's a lot. That rash is going to suddenly look fucking insignificant, and those grades meaningless, right? And so it's amazing how much information that subconscious is gagging to get those people who are of service, those key people who have done this many times, who have helped with this planets, with many planets before. So, it's very significant. And then, of course, talking to the subconscious, because, I love chatting to high dimensional beings. They're so enlightening, and they're very, very fantastic. They've got, they make a lot of sense. Anyway, so when I'm talking to the subconscious, and then I'm saying, so what was the significance of the client having a session with me? And then the subconscious will be like, oh, those were the lifetimes you had together. You were to remind each other of how challenging, being of service and planets that are at this stage, and at the end of their life cycles. And so, again, we're all merging into soul families. We're all merging into remember what we've done before. And this is why it's so important for us to know thyself and to understand the significance of here and now, and who's with us and who is to support us and remind us of our power, or remind us of our personal experiences and the purpose of being here on this planet. And we are supposed to raise our frequency vibrations and, not be focused on the little rashes, focus on the bigger stuff of the significance of everything, because we're all truly deeply connected into one. And this is something we really need to take seriously and not be a hobby. But I understand that many people choose to speak spiritual, pretend to be spiritual, act as if they are spiritual, but apply nothing to their real lives and their real approaches to people. And, can be really disrespectful for, having to be reminded of that. It really triggers the shit out of people who are not wanting to step up, to be constantly told to step up. It really bothers them. That's a reaction. And potentially, if you keep getting triggered by that, grow through that and empower yourselves through it. Definitely find out in a session, what we're supposed to be doing and why. And then you've got that flip side of those people that worry so much and put so much responsibility because they know that, and they see others not stepping up. And so they feel that pressure to put on more responsibilities of their own life mission and contracts. And it's almost too much. And so the subconscious will say, remove the responsibilities that actually aren't yours. And so, it's all perspectives. But I do know that lots of subconsciouses have expected more from certain people and they have not stepped up. And I mean, that's a choice, and that soul will get to reflect on those choices. Nothing gets hidden and the truth will always come out. And so, that's what motivates me to make sure that my choices are in alignment with my subconscious's expects and demands from me, because, I came up for it. I'm here for it. I'm literally here for it. And while I know that there are many other things we need to do, we can't do those many other things until we do this now, until we complete here now. And so, it's such a frustrating thing. Sometimes when we lose patience, that we are getting really frustrated with those people who are, not stepping up. And then, of course, that also can be part of the problem. So, it's all fun times, but they're really wanting you all to stop and look at who you're following and who your influences are. And if you sort of think, oh, well, those spiritual people look like they're onto it and they're doing something, I don't need to step up. They've got it covered. We're supposed to be our own leaders, and we're supposed to step up and empower and show people how we are not buying into fear, how we are not looping in emotional trauma and triggers and victimhood and all this sort of stuff. You know, we signed up to be here. We knew this was going to be hard, and yet we're all here together trying to step up and be of service. And I keep hearing in sessions that 15-minute white light healing is a really great practice exercise to be able to really, truly have relaxation in the body. Because once your body is truly and relaxed and not feeling like the world's going to eat you up, then your mind will actually start being able to relax too and not feel so hypervigilant. So it's significant times, beyond significant. And when we see those people who have suddenly awoken to some of the darker agendas and the killing of truth, this is a big one, the killing of truth. And lots of people, you know, are not wanting to see the truth for many reasons. Because when you have the truth, you're supposed to do something about it, aren't you? And what is it? Is it to be angry about the crimes against humanity and be bitter and resentful and start trying to have wars? Or are we going to take a mature metaphysical perspective of it to be able to understand when we shift and people are questioning what the heck just happened and why? Well, you could say, well, it's the natural cycle of the planet because, you know, planets have lives and this one's been exhausted. You know, that's one perspective that people can process and cope with. But when they start saying, well, weren't we supposed to have longer lives here? Weren't we supposed to be able to shift into the fifth dimension here on this earth? And so when we say, well, you know, the density just ate into all of those opportunities for this planet to expand, this 3D to merge into 5D. It's a different layer now. Whatever you want to call densities, whatever you want to call different planets, whatever you want to call different energy fields, you know, you explore it in your sessions. QHHT has interns who do 25 sessions for free. If they're trying to like hint, wink, and suggest a donation, a part of their service, they're not in this for the right reasons. So, you know, that is my opinion. That could be very judgmental, but an intern should be more focused on learning and exploring and working through these sessions and growing their own skill sets than having this as a side hustle. If that's their motivation as the side hustle, then they're not truly respecting the learning and the growth and their own journey that they need to step up to be of service. And we know that we have clients that match our energy, like for like. And sometimes I have clients that need a bit of a kick up the bum with much love, you know, and they listen to these sessions and they get pissed off and triggered and then refuse to grow. And that's a choice too. But, you know, we have this beautiful gift and connection to channel our higher selves, our subconscious, Bobby, whatever you want to call it, them, her, she, they. And when I see so many people struggling, and when I see so many people really angry about the crimes against humanity and refuse to have any other bigger perspective because their 3D egos and mindsets are the most appropriate way to live life, when they're looping and in pain and frustrated and resentful and bitter, and they're wondering why we're not growing and evolving, that. So this is always interesting to be able to have channeling sessions yourself, channel your own teams, and feel into how much they love you, because they completely love you. But they also have a lot more respect of you and what you're capable of doing. Huge. They know so much how you're super capable, beyond capable. But our own limitations, our own free will, our own choices sort of take away that capability of this awesomeness to sort of this small little, it's a hobby and it's not too much effort. So, you know, really figure out where you are on that spectrum, because I also know that there are very much advanced, really superheroes for humanity here, listening to these videos as well. You know, so I have great gratitude and deep respect for those people who are being honest and respectful to their own life contracts and stepping up. It can be very exhausting, especially when we expect that whatever we do, there is instant gratification, instant rewards. It doesn't work like that. It's all about ripple effects. Ripple effects. And we will never feel that ripple potentially because it just goes out. So we're not doing stuff for instant recognition. We really shouldn't be. We should be fully of service, knowing that this is our part of our duties. And it is not about what we get given. It's not about what comes to us. Self-empowerment, self-pride, service to self, and making sure that we're not taking from others. Oh, look at me, attention. No, we are serving ourselves to be balance neutral. We are giving our own self attention, but we're not taking from other people. We're actually giving, constantly giving to others. And when we feel like we're being a bit drained, disrespected, misused, we can pull back our boundaries, absolutely. But, you feel into what's the most appropriate for you. This is a marathon, isn't it? And you know what I think about running. It's a walking marathon. And, that's okay. We're always going to get to the finish. But it's just, how long will it take? And when we say that time is a man-made, concept, it truly is. So enjoy ourselves, drink lots of water, find joy in relaxing the body, honoring the mind, and remembering potentially this isn't the first time that you've been in this predicament on a planet before. Fun times, my friends. Much love to you all, and I hope you're enjoying all of your choices.